and welcome. Episode 5, I believe, of the Pitcast. Enjoying the sights and sounds out in the streets of Cape Town. And I woke up this morning. It looked to be an absolutely gorgeous day, cool. And now I see some clouds coming in. And apparently it's going to rain from Wednesday, but either way, we take it as it comes. We enjoy it either way. And I need to get a few things out of the way as always. Guys, 1 October, I am stopping requesting for people to register that they are subscribed on this channel. And in particular, this applies to everyone from day 1 to roughly mid 2023. So from 2021 till about July 2023, there were under 1,000 subscribers. So I'm looking for you guys. Just pop me a message. My number's in the description. DM me a screenshot. And please let me know what your profile is. Half the time it's something obscure and I have no idea who it is except for 1 or 2 hints. And I'm unable to allocate these codes to you. So hopefully you guys get in touch. I know I'm going to have a lot of upset and angry subscribers who may unsubscribe, and that's perfectly fine by me. But from 1 October, you are not going to hear me plead with guys to register. Doesn't cost a thing. It's a thank you from me to you. And it will play a serious role down the line. As I have mentioned, there are about 9 phases to this project. And I honestly have no problem adding more as we go along. In the name of sport and recreation, in the name of upliftment for everyone. But within these 9 phases, and I suppose I've been to blame here, it's been my wrongdoing by holding all of it up because of this. But it just becomes unmanageable, 50, 80, 70, 30, 100,000 subscribers. And it's kind of hard to figure out where they are from and how you can actually give back in a beneficial way. I mean, a lot of people have given me flack for excluding Cape Town as this project progressed. But I can honestly say that's not of my own doing. I've engaged with the relevant individuals who are in this industry, and I say that loosely. I've engaged with track operators, track promoters, City of Cape Town. Tried to engage with politicians that give empty promises and, tickle my balls essentially, as they do with all of us. Politicians who will say anything to please, to gain favor. And from what I've experienced the past few years being back on the scene, and I use that term loosely because I haven't really bothered to get out there and go and see what park-offs are like, meetups are like. From what I've seen in the media, and I don't mean mainstream media, I mean amongst the community itself, that would just be setting myself up for unnecessary hassles from law enforcement. And while some of them are doing it because they enjoy being argumentative, I suppose it's a genetic flaw, others are trying to enforce the rules. Some within reason and some because they wear the uniform and there's a sense of power that comes with that in their minds. And I suppose that's what's wrong with motorsport as well. It doesn't appear to me that there are many people doing this for the love of the sport and recreation. And I say that across all stakeholders. Spectators, competitors, promoters, organizers, owners, government, public enterprise, private enterprise. Doesn't seem like there are many doing it for the love of it, you know. And it's a very tricky thing to kind of get embroiled up in, because a lot of people will perceive what you say in a different manner, you know. I mean, I spoke to an organizer, and within a few minutes of the discussion, messages of, you know, all I've ever seen in this industry is snakes. Now, to me, that's projection. I firmly believe you give everyone a chance, you know, at least one, and most times I give two. So if I don't know you, I'm going to give you a chance. You screw me over, I might give you another one just to prove my point, that you're a waste of time. And then you'll kind of never hear from me again. And if you do hear from me, probably generations have gone by or decades have gone by, and I've got new generations of, you know, subscribers and enthusiasts asking me why. Why don't you engage with this track or this individual or this group of people? And, you know, I've given that opportunity, and I've gone through the case of doing it again, and only just gotten the same output, the same opinion, the same way of thinking, the same archaic mannerisms. And what I say offends people, and it's going to offend. And that merely means there is some truth to the matter. And we haven't even scratched the surface yet. And you're going to see people scrambling. They're going to scramble to someone that has the same idea, you know, to try and cover up for themselves, to try and save face. They're going to start pointing fingers and looking for someone to agree with them. Quite frankly, I could really care less. I don't think I've ever bothered with what people's opinions were, especially of me. Nor do I bother with people's emotions, especially if all these things are unfounded, if there's no merit to it. And I mean, I suppose these podcasts are going to start sounding similar. You know, an underlying general theme. But there's a hell of a lot wrong at the moment. And like I said, across all levels. I mean, the thing with me is there's no fear and no favor. I don't care if you are my best friend in your mind. I don't care if you've gotten access to me at any hour of the day, which a lot of people don't. And that becomes your story for the next week or two. I know I managed to get a hold of Dom. I could really care less. There's no fear or favor from my side. So it doesn't matter to me that you do me a favor and it's conditional. I didn't ask for any favor. You know, people misunderstand when I approach them and I ask for things, and I've said this before. I don't ask so that you can help me. I'm speaking on behalf of a collective that needs all of our support, whatever that may be. And it's hard to discuss these things because, like I said, I've had complete idiots, you know, raise the argument that, yeah, but, you know, money this, money that. Yes, that's kind of obvious. But I think I've been pretty clear when I've said that the problem is there are people who make that the priority. But there are other realities as well in terms of, the problem of this live stream and the ability to bring it to you guys from around the country. There's lots of challenges. I mean, what am I going to do with 400 liters of oil? you know, approaching an oil sponsor, and then that's what they're willing to bring to the table in exchange for brand exposure. What the hell am I going to do with 400 liters of oil? Or, looking for a battery supplier, a power backup supplier. I mean, you all know that, well, some of you know, when I go to most of the tracks, it's in the middle of nowhere in the sense of where I'm standing. There's no power. So I'm using a generator. I'm using an inverter, and I'm trying to run a battery backup on most everything. But I identified I need one of those, new age battery power supplies. So that would make sense. Sponsor me one and I'll market your brand. But the value of that is maybe worth a month's worth of sponsoring. What am I going to market your brand for the whole year? The logic makes no sense. And I'm not going to say common sense, because that technically doesn't exist. I mean, we're all born as blank canvases. No one is born a leader. No one is born good at something. Everyone has what people like to call a natural talent. No, those people are just fearless. And that's down to circumstance. It's down to upbringing. It's down to situation. I mean, you can't expect someone to know everything or anything or something or part of it or whatever the case may be. You've got to inform people. You've got to educate people. You've got to give people insight. That's why those few things form part of my mission. In essence, that's my mission. To give insight, to inform, to educate, to empower, to uplift. And the vision is to see that realized globally. I mean, there have been so many issues outside of motorsport, and as much as I want to talk about motorsport, it just feels so wrong with all of the things that's going on. And it pains me, and it disappoints. It's disappointing to see how we do each other within sport, how we do each other in general, how we fail to be genuine in our support. And it's a very difficult thing for me to say, because people are going to take it out of context. If someone releases content or puts out a live stream, watching it is supporting it. Sharing it is supporting it. There's no expectation in that moment of anything else, or at least from my side. I mean, and again, people are going to take offense to this. I get annoyed watching something or being involved in something, and then there's this expectation that extends beyond what it is being done. Did someone put a gun to my head to do live streams? Sometimes it appears as though someone's trying to. When people don't understand what goes into this. And maybe I should elaborate. I mean, I don't know how it goes for content creators in general that do live streams. I can't really compare what I do to what anyone else does. I mean, if you look at the live streams that I've seen before, and I mean like structurally similar, broadcast software, camera, equipment, not just a phone. If I must compare mine to that, then there's always this guilt. And I heard that recently as well, even on the phone streams. There's this guilt. Guys, I'm standing here now for you. I just switch off. I'm sorry. I tune out, I zone out, I may disconnect the live, but I just switch off. We do things conditionally, and that's what annoys me in general. And I can see it in motorsport as well. We do things conditionally. And I love it when people throw that in my face. Just for the sake of having an argument. They have to say something, but they don't actually have something to say. There is nothing that they have to say, but they must wreck their back, so to speak. And you stand there, and I think I've said it to a few people recently. Did that make you feel better? Do you feel better about your life now? Because it really makes no difference to me. I mean, if I had to really worry about what people say and what people think, do, and all the fights I have. The fights have merit. The fights, there are reasons, very many reasons for these disagreements, shall we say. And as I've said, buried something and asked nicely for an answer, for a response. And I just never get it. Lie. Maybe lie's a bad word. What's the word I'm looking for? Mislead. It's probably a better way of conveying the context. And it's a tactic employed through marketing. Now that's probably the ugliest thing I've seen. To lure people under false pretenses. That just about pisses me off. To no end. And I think I saw the live go down there for a second. So I'll upload this whole recording as well. As a backup for whatever was missed. I don't know, I'm just seeing red and green. So, the problems are vast. And it's hard to put a finger on it sometimes because you wonder, what the hell is the agenda? And you can't ask these people because they just ruk their gat up and then out comes the blades and we're on the attack. Well, then I've already got my answer. I mean, it's rare that you can actually have a discussion with people in general. Because they usually give their game away when they get defensive. And they get worked up. Then you don't really need to waste your time. Then there's a problem. Then you know what? I need to go and dig deeper. I mean, we complain, but I really don't take note of those complaints that lack merit. Those complaints without an argument. And I mean, I could say anything, and I'll have this faction stand up and say, yeah, why are you in support of this? And then I'm like, I'm not in support of it. I'm just stating a fact, stating a point. And then tomorrow I'll say something which is also a fact, and I'll be told, yeah, oh, why are you in support of this? Sometimes when I post things on my status and I say, read it again. Read it and reread it until it makes some sort of sense. And if it still doesn't, then ask me, man. Ask me, what do I mean? But that was one of the biggest problems when we lure people through false advertising. And again, I should say we mislead, because we have every opportunity to come out and say, guys, we were wrong, or guys, things have changed. What's your backup plan? And I mean, it's from the polls I put on my WhatsApp channel. As a sample alone, it's pretty clear. It's very clear what the feeling was. This past week, has been BS upon BS. And I can't wait for the next round of BS, which is coming up. It's sad to see. 30 years on, and we have the same BS happening. It's it's really annoying, really upsetting. And then this whole favor, this whole issue of favor. It was highlighted with me about yesterday in particular. And I mean, let's be blunt and honest and fair. It is just an opinion. It's someone's opinion, right? It's someone's perception, and it's tied to emotion. And we would certainly hope that the intent wasn't there. The intent to favor. But the perception of it exists. And it pains me, because I'm sitting here thinking, there is so much that can be done. And I suppose the only option I have is to just give these ideas to the people who can do it. Because they're clearly not interested in partnering to do it together. And they'll be happier taking the idea and running with it as if it's their own. I'm sure. How pathetic and sad is that? But at the end of the day, the community comes first. And that's also a worry of mine. I mean, what is the state of our community? I mean, I remember when I started the Sayat Car Club in 2007 or 8. I mean, there was a handful of people that, if I saw them, I pulled them over. Hi, my name's Dominic. Obviously you can see why I stopped you, because we both drive Sayats. And the very first hookup we had was 3 cars. 4 people, 3 cars. and we went to Spur. But that was our little community. And it was 2 FRs and a Seat Ibiza. 2 Leon FRs and a Seat Ibiza. And I shouldn't even have to have mentioned FRs. It was just, 3 Seats, 2 Leons, 1 Ibiza. And the club grew from there. And we had meetups and, meetups at the track. We had breakfast runs. And slowly but surely, one of the biggest issues which exists in almost everything, including motorsport, started to come to the fore: elitism. And that kind of exists everywhere. And it pains me to have to bring up politics, but that's kind of what drives politics in this country: elitism. The elite want to run and control and have the power, and that is completely contradictory to the whole concept of democracy. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be involved with community forums, and most recently, the Steenberg Community Forum. And I've learned a lot in this past year from the leaders in that forum. Things that I thought to myself, I had some idea. I mean, I don't know everything. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And I'm always learning. And they opened my eyes to structure, systems. And in particular, how you can apply it to politics, but how you can apply it to almost any organization. And the philosophies of democracy and what it means, which is literally power to the people. And we don't seem to have demos kratos, we have demos trelos, which is crazy people. So, this elitism is the biggest thing that annoys me. And I mean, I don't think I was like that, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't like that. But my mindset was, if I want a faster car, I'll buy a faster car. Not that that's necessarily wrong, but I quickly got my ass handed to me by what you would perceive as a slow car. The obligatory Mach 1 Golf. There's always a Mach 1 Golf. And that kind of changed my mindset, I think, for the better. Not that I ever had an issue. I mean, like I said, I started the club, my club, not for the sake of cause. It's for the sake of like-minded people. And that slowly changed throughout the year and the few years that it was running. You'd have people who had entry-level cars now suddenly upgrading to the top of the line, and suddenly everything below that is now beneath them. And that, for me, was the most annoying thing. That you were there, man. And now you're too better. You're too good. Way better than where you came from. And in essence, that's one of the reasons why I said, I'm just putting an end to this. If you guys want to continue or run it, I don't own Seats worldwide. This is meant to be a group about a collective, people that share common interests. And it's not just the brand. It's about cars, it's about people in general. But this elitism, that just annoys me to no end. I mean, there are people who used to race Nissan Sentras and Hondas and Golfs and Toyotas, and now they've got the opportunity to buy a BMW or Mercedes Benz or a Supra. Respect, kudos, enjoy it. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about these people that come out of nowhere and they buy an already stupidly fast car. Then they take it for some tuning, some modification, and now suddenly they, big dogs. I'm talking about those people. I'm talking about people that think because of what they have, they're better than the next. And sometimes, unfortunately, it is someone, or it is a group of people that came from nothing. And it somehow tends to be the new money that lacks a sense of being humble. But it's a very complex thing to discuss because there are so many facets of a problem that you can't just say it's one thing. I'm grateful for the support I have and the supporters that I have, but by no means do I expect you to side with me and agree with me and be in my corner. I'm very capable of standing on my own 2 feet. Don't feel obliged to agree with Dominic, to side with him. Hear what I have to say, digest it, make up your own mind, seek the truth. You know what I say. I may do the wrong thing. I don't make mistakes. But I may do the wrong thing. At least if I see something is going wrong or I see it's not right, I'll be the first to stand up and say, you know what, this is my wrongdoing. I messed this up. So how am I going to change this? And the same, like I keep telling people, what? If you see a problem and you want to come to me with a concern, then what's the solution? And then people look at me like, why must I figure it out? Because you saw something wrong. You don't need to fix it in the sense of actually actioning and doing it. But you saw something wrong. What's wrong? And so what do we do to correct it? You've got to at least have a solution for the problem that you see. Or you're just wasting everyone's time, including your own. And I am certainly not about people who are reckless with their time, because then they will be reckless with my time. And time is precious, as the cliche goes, for the simple reason that every moment that goes by, wasted, is a moment you are never going to get back. So do you have a very good reason for not doing something? Then you're cleared. Then you are in the clear. I've got a few meetings this week. I've got a lot of things happening this week. And hopefully, I won't say hopefully, it should yield good outcome for part of this project. And it's not going to benefit me, and it shouldn't. If anything, it should benefit all of us, as I keep saying. So we'll see how that goes. It's been nearly 3 years in the making. 3 years. So, yes, I am going through with it, the engagement. I'm really going to sit back and observe. Because, a lot of times you speak to someone, you ask someone, would you like to partner? Would you like to collaborate? They take no note of you, or they first sit and think, how can they benefit? And then they pass a decision your way. I've seen that for so many years that you could almost argue there's a level of cynicism about me for that, which there isn't, because I will still give you an opportunity, which is fair if I've never dealt with you. So we'll see how that gets played, because that's all it feels like to me. Suddenly you see where it can benefit you, so now you are interested. Okay, that's one angle. I'll keep an open mind, but experience has taught me to be mindful, not outright cynical, but at the very least mindful, wakker, woke, as I assume the term is used these days. And we'll see what the last few months of the year hold. I honestly don't know. I mean, it's just been interesting to me to watch. And I'll say even 16 years on, how the same things are happening. But I'm constantly told, people want, what are you going to bring to the table that's new? And then when I look at what's being brought to the table, it's the same old. So people want my ideas so that they can claim credit and that they can benefit. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly. I don't think that's going to fly at all. And City is very good at that. And I suppose that's where we've sort of not been able to agree, because they first want to know what it is I want to do, and then most likely steal the idea, and then put something together with another entity. I mean, it can't be a coincidence when you speak to several individuals and they've all had that experience. You design something for City, then City takes what you designed and give it over to someone that's either, getting a kickback, or knows someone, or there's a favor for a favor, and then you left out in the cold. Even if I was born yesterday, I don't think I'd fall for that joke. So, I mean, it's kind of ugly, but we all have to suffer then because of that. You get these people that give you decisions because they can't engage. There's no transparency. What is the agenda? And then when you look at people asking me, why would you give away this? Why would you give away that? It's income. And at the end of the day, why wouldn't you make it more affordable for more to enjoy? Why wouldn't you focus on building a community that can benefit Why wouldn't you be interested in developing a group of enthusiasts that can allow you to reap much greater rewards in the long term? Why don't we look beyond just the money, man? I mean, is that all that's important to people? Let's not worry with building a relationship and building trust. Let's get money now. And then tomorrow you complain when no one appears, when no one comes. Because, you haven't bothered to develop anything. I mean, what has actually been developed in motorsport in the last 20 years? Except a few poster competitors. And they may very well be talented. Don't take anything away from them. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. Or is this another situation similar to what we had in cricket all the years ago? Favor. Who's to say? But where is the real development? Where's the opportunities? Where's the outright, open, transparent communication? I don't know. I think I've only touched the tip of the iceberg for this issue in this episode. But we'll pick it up again. I'm going to see what happens this week and then figure out what we're discussing next week. But hopefully it's a good move in the right direction for what will benefit the community in general, the car community, not just the motorsport community. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Have a good week ahead. Please, if you have been subscribed to this channel since 2021, pop me a DM with a screenshot. Send me your profile name so I can tie it to an individual, because there's a lot of people that I don't even know who are subscribed to the channel. I may not know. You may be messaging me and chatting as if I somehow know you are a subscriber. And there are a few of you that I have absolutely no idea. I mean, others, we are in groups, and you two haven't said, hey Dom, this is my profile, these are my details, this is the track I'm closest to be able to get rewards. There are rewards coming. I've given some out, and there are more. Over and above just a code. So you're more than welcome to get in touch. Got my number, it's in the description. And we will chat soon.